Alrighty, everybody. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing good. So I was sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was trying to get my normal OBS studio to work, but it decided it didn't want to work last minute, so I had to resort to what I've been doing for the last several months. I'm trying to get it to where I can stream shorts and the horizontal feed like you're seeing right now at the same time. Um, And well, yeah, it was being stupid. But anyways, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Before we get into it here, I know I already said this already, but huge shout out goes to Kathleen for the donation before we got started today. Thank you once again, Kathleen. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. Just thank you so much for the kind love and support. It is greatly appreciated. But anyways, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see here. What's up, Corbin? What's up, Buck? Good to see ya. What's up, Alt? Let's see here. What's up, Philip? Good to see ya. Let's see, I'm getting a lot of snow in Uniontown, Pennsylvania this weekend. Are ya? Yeah, the models. Let's talk about that. Let's bring you guys back over here, or bring you guys over here, to the models, and we're gonna do a bit of an analysis like we've been doing the last several days here. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to workflows. We'll go ahead and go pull up the precipitation. I'm going to pull up the MK3. I worked on it a little bit better. I got rid of the one model. It didn't really seem to work very well. The one on the bottom right, I think that was the GraphCast GFS. I got rid of that one. So anyways, but we're going to do a little bit of an analysis this morning. So kind of where we stand here now, honestly, really not a whole lot of difference. But what it looks like, though, is that the Euro really does want there to be a lot more snow further north. Still, the GFS keeps things pretty shallow for the most point, or for the most part, I should say, not most point. but regardless, I mean, both models here, both the European model and the GFS, they both show quite a significant amount of ice accumulation, which honestly is going to be one of the main problems here. It's going to be the fact that we're likely going to be seeing some really heavy ice with the storm here. So, on top of really heavy snow accumulations, like I said, we'll also have the ice as well, which could cause a peripheral of, however you say it, of concerns on its own. Power outages, of course, really bad driving conditions, stuff like that. So we got to really watch this one closely. And I really do believe that this one's going to be quite a significant storm, if not one of the, it's hard to tell as of this early, but it could be one of the biggest storms that we've seen, or we're going to see this winter here. So we definitely got to keep an eye on it. Just the sheer magnitude of size of this thing is massive. Let's see here. Philip says, where is the snow? Well, as of right now, so first of all, the first thing you guys got to know is that the storm's starting on Friday here. It's going to start on Friday. It's going to kick its way really heavy through Saturday here, cutting through a lot of the southern plains, some of the Midwest here, the Mid-Atlantic, possibly the Ohio Valley. I mean, you can see European model in the top middle panel here really shows a bit of heavy snow up there by the Ohio Valley, while the GFS in the bottom left here, the top left is the main GFS. The AI GFS is in the bottom left. But yeah, you can see that the snow's a lot more shallower from the American model. So there's obviously a bit of disagreement here overall. Here, let me pull this back up here. Okay. What's up, all? Good to see you. Good morning, Blue Ridge. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. What's up, Melissa? Saying hi from Michigan. Hello. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Misty? Good morning to you. Good morning, Viper. Let's see here. Good morning, new tuning in here from the Storm Blessing. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. See, I wonder if it'll compare to 93 or 96. I honestly don't remember what happened then, because, I mean, I was kind of -9 years old, so I wasn't alive at the time, so I don't really remember what happened with that storm. But it is turning out to probably be quite a big storm here overall. All right, so like I said, you can kind of see where the models stand here. Once again, in the afternoon, evening of Friday is likely when this is really going to start to materialize. We actually have a really strong high-pressure ridge building in from the north here, up by the northern plains. We're talking some really high pressure building in. We're going to be getting kind of an elongated low developing towards the Gulf here, which is really going to be ramping up a lot of moisture, getting the storm going here. And like I said, I'm really concerned of it because not only is the sheer size of the storm. I mean, this covers a big chunk of the states, but it's also like huge. That's what I just said, but it's massive. That's one of the biggest concerns. Is it covers so many areas here, which is just which is absolutely wild here. Let's see. Alt says they're all north now. Am I on the right? Here, let me double check. This is the '06 UTC run of the GFS model here. So no, this is up to date. Actually, you know what though? What it is Sunday. It looks like Sunday the GFS model has the system eventually pulling north. It has it kind of starting out pretty shallow, while the Euro you can see really gets that snow going here. But yeah, it's not until later the GFS does show it eventually working its way up to the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. Man, dude, this is going to be quite a kicker. I tell you, this is going to be quite a nasty storm, man. Holy cow. I mean, this just the sheer amount of states that this covers. I mean, there's going to be likely some really, really heavy snow. Now, the totals, I'm a little iffy on the totals right now. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's still a little early to trust these totals. We're getting closer, of course. Since we're on Wednesday, we're 2 days before the event starts. So that's typically when I was telling you guys is when you could start looking at totals. The later end of the storm, though, those totals will likely fluctuate quite a bit. As you can see, I mean, the models still have a little bit of disagreement, especially by the Euro and the GFS. I mean, Euro wants it further north, like we've said earlier, and for a longer period of time. And GFS kind of is late to the show with the snow, pulling to the north here, as you can kind of see. Yeah, GFS still doesn't really show a whole lot for areas like Missouri, especially like northern Missouri, while Euro you can see has like the entire state engulfed in some heavy snow here. And then of course, looking at the ice here, I mean, we have a lot of ice on all these models here, which is pretty crazy. Let's see here. What's up, Anna? Good to see ya. Let's see here. I'm in Northeast Arkansas. Am I looking at substantial ice and snow? Northeast Arkansas, yeah, definitely would be an area where we'd likely see some really heavy impacts out there. From the way that the models are looking, you can see Euro on this panel here, really showing quite a heavy amount of ice here. I mean, we're talking, some heavy ice for a long period of time, likely sleet, likely some freezing rain and stuff like that. So definitely is going to be pretty heavy on the ice side of things here. Now, also you got that support from the GFS model here as well, actually showing a little bit of sleet, likely some freezing rain and stuff like that here as well. So, yeah, ice would likely be a big concern for Northeast Arkansas. Definitely do need you to be watching this one, as you definitely could be in for quite a ride here with this event here. So we'll definitely keep you up to date here. Let's see. I'm rooting for the Euro. I bet a lot of people are rooting for Euro. Absolutely, it's one of the more aggressive, models here. Let's see here. Blue Ridge says I was 10 and 93. Like I said, I was -9 years old. So let's see here. You're graduating high school in 93. Wow, goodness. Let's see here. AA says we'll probably be able to trust the totals tomorrow when the system comes online. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Typically the day before, I mean, at very most 2 days before the events, when you should really start looking at those accumulations. At the point of which they start showing those accumulations like a half a week or more, like 4, 6, 7 days or so, it's really not very good because the models really tend to fluctuate quite a bit, given that range. But like I said, starting on Friday, Friday afternoons when this is going to likely start to materialize here, at that time, that is basically, not too far out. It's basically 2 days out, essentially. So it's within reason to where we could start looking at those accumulations, which we're getting ready to pull up here in a minute. Let's see here. Let's see, in 93 we had 2-foot snowdrifts. Wow. There was actually a storm back in 2016. I think today, either today or tomorrow, is the 10-year anniversary of the 2016 storm we had in Northern Virginia. That brought like 2 to 3 foot of snow where I grew up. Crazy, crazy stuff. That is by far the most snow I've ever seen. So it's crazy that's like right on the anniversary, right near the anniversary. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Mid Atlantic could definitely get quite a bit of snow here as well. Let's see, no power for a week. Yeah, that's rough. That's something we got to prepare for too. Make sure if you guys have generators, make sure they're filled with gas, make sure they're serviced properly, they're ready to go. Let's see. So good idea stocking up on essentials. Yeah, at this point, it would be a good idea to start preparing for this event here, given that we have a lot of agreement on the system, actually, existing, and that we know kind of what the potential impacts are going to be of the system at this point. All right, so we're going to go to the single panel for a minute. We're going to talk snow accumulations here. Now, remember, like I said, I'm still a little iffy on those accumulations, but we'll look at them just to kind of see where things are at here. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Let's see here. Regina, thank you so much for the $3. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. I'm terrible with names. If it's probably something you're going to learn here very, very soon, is that I'm not good with names, but I really appreciate it. Thank you for the 3. Greatly appreciated. So here's the GFS, and GFS does not play around with totals, man. Holy cow. This is actually the first time I've seen them today, so we're kind of going in this together here. Dude. Okay, so the GFS, I'm actually going to do something here, and this is really important because this will show you basically where the models stand. So let me bring up my pen here. Actually, I don't even think I need to. I think I have a... Yeah, we have a built-in pen here. So this is kind of where the main streak of snow is going to be, according to the GFS model. You can kind of see. So really having some real heavy snow cutting through like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and some of the New England states here. Definitely bringing quite a bit, quite a bit of snowfall here. In which you can see, where these kind of brighter colors are. This is where we could top out over a foot. It's really good possibility. I mean, that covers a pretty good amount of the Appalachian Mountains here. Seeing possibly, a foot or more in some areas, which is pretty crazy. Now, when comparing this to Euro, the ECMWF here, you can see the previous marker I drew. You could definitely see that there's a bit of a northerly push with these accumulations on the European model. You can show that snow line is a little bit further north, and that's kind of been the dominant trait of the Euro model lately. So this circle that we have in blue, this was the... I probably should have done that for Euro, but the blue circle, that's the GFS's, main line of snowfall, in which now, if I go ahead and circle this one, you can kind of see now where the Euro model kind of agrees where a lot of the heavy stuff is essentially going to be here. Definitely a little bit of a northerly push, pushing a lot of that heavier snow up in like northern Kentucky, northern Arkansas, like central West Virginia, northern Virginia, a lot of Maryland. These areas could see possibly, a foot or more, according to, kind of where the model sits right now. Which is, definitely quite a significant storm. So whoever's going to get this line, whether it being north or south, regardless, I mean, we're likely going to see some really heavy totals here. Now, I do want to bring up the ice accumulations. I don't think this program here has ice accumulations. I mean, I'll double check. Actually, you know what? Never mind, it does. I'm mistaken. Maybe I just didn't see it before. But yeah, we're definitely talking quite a significant... Wow, look at that. Quite a significant amount of freezing rain here. I mean, we're talking like possibly inches worth of freezing rain, according to the Euro here. That is crazy. Yeah, total freezing rain. I mean, out there by Arkansas is showing like 2.5 inches in some spots. Like, could you imagine if that... Dude, if that actually materializes, that would be quite significant. That would cause like catastrophic power outages. I mean, everybody would be without power. It would be wild. Let's see here. I said it perfect. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it. Let's see. It's worth it to get school closed for an entire 2 weeks. Yeah, but there's also, a lot of danger involved too, just make sure you get all of your supplies and stuff before the event happens, make sure you have enough non-perishable foods. So make sure it's non-perishable because obviously, well, I mean, if you think about it, now that I think about it, it's going to be cold outside, so you can store some of your food outside, some of your cold stuff. I've seen people do it, and I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, my parents did it, where since you're losing power and stuff like that, with all this ice and uh, the snow and stuff like that, you can actually put your frozen foods and some of your refrigerated stuff outside, in the snow, which you might lose it. Just make sure you remember where you put it. But yeah, you can definitely do that. That is something that I would recommend probably you do. That way, also just don't lose all your food that's in your freezer. You could definitely just bring it out and throw it in the snow. It'll work. Let's see here. Let's see in Arkansas. Hold on. I gotta remember to get carrots. Gotta remember to get carrots, and we don't have or we don't get the chance to build big snow not very often. Oh yeah, true. This will definitely be the one to do it. Absolutely. Let's see here. The ice is the biggest concern. Any solid ice hold up snow, electrical grid. Yeah, so that's the problem with ice is like, especially freezing rain. It really clings on the objects here. So it falls like rain. It looks like normal rain here. But the problem is that your temperatures on the surface are freezing and below. So with that being said, I mean, of course, you're going to have a lot of that water really weigh down on power lines and branches. I mean, that could cause branches and trees to come down even. So that's something else that you need to look out for is, trees coming down, branches coming down, of course, power lines coming down too, the electrical hazard from that, not to mention, being without power, there's going to be, a lot of impacts there. That's why I'm saying it's just really important that you guys prepare. I mean, you guys could probably, one thing I'd recommend, so if I was in this storm, which I'm in Central Florida, so I'm not getting this, but if I was in this storm, I mean, I did grow up north, so I am used to, prepping for snowstorms and stuff. What I would recommend is maybe getting a gas stove, a little propane stove, like you'd use for camping. That could be pretty useful, and of course, don't worry about, your stuff thawing out because you can just throw it in the snow, like I said earlier. And, you can just get one of those little camping stoves and, you can make breakfast or make food or whatever you want to do on it. So that would be maybe an idea for some of you guys, that way if you don't like just straight up canned food, then you could do that. It's not like it's a hurricane where it's going to be warm and stuff like that. So at least you have that benefiting you. Also, stuff like flashlight, extra batteries would be great. Making sure that you have all of your medicines, your paperwork, stuff like that. I mean, this isn't really a hurricane, so I mean, you should be mostly fine for the most part, as long as you just stay indoors and don't go out here. Anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Blue Ridge says we did that. Oh, you did? Gotcha. Flashlights, candles for power outages recommended. Definitely, for sure. See, that's what we do. Power goes out, food gets put out in the freezer in plastic bag. There you go. Yeah, that's definitely a really good idea. I've seen a lot of people do that, and like I said, I'm pretty sure we used to do that when I was growing up here too. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Alex? Saying, hey, Andrew. How are you doing? Anyways, I'm excited for Jersey. The latest Euro model is putting down unreal snow rates on Sunday. Could I show the totals potentially also? Yes, I can. Actually, we literally just got done looking at the totals here, but I can definitely do that again for you. Let me bring up the 10-to-1 snow ratio here. So this is the Euro, the ECMWF. I might even do a double panel here, so we can just see the classic GFS Euro combo here. So a bit of a heads up, the European model is on the left panel, and the GFS model is on the right panel. Actually, I set them both as GFS. Let me do this one for Euro. There we go. Yeah, so Euro's on this panel on the left, and the American GFS is on the right here. So you guys can kind of see them both. But anyways, but you can see, obviously, there's a huge difference still, and kind of where that heavy, that heavy streak of snow is going to be, that foot-plus margin. Obviously, the European model has that going through like eastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, cutting into like northern Kentucky, southern Ohio, cutting into central northern West Virginia, northern Virginia, Maryland, southern Pennsylvania. I mean, leading up into some of the interior Northeast here, and of course, so that's Euro. Then you got GFS, which shows also eastern Oklahoma. So that's something I want you guys to remember or realize. is that, and this is because it's early in the storm. It's a little closer, so there's more guidance on it. And obviously, both the Euro and the GFS do suggest at least a foot of snow in eastern Oklahoma. So at this point, that's a pretty good possibility. But then from there, it kind of gets a little iffy. I mean, you can obviously see the Euro here for like, Tennessee doesn't show a whole lot of snow, which in this case, it would likely be a heck of a lot more ice. It would be more of an ice concern. But then you got the, what is the model here? This is the GFS on the right panel. I forgot for a minute. That really shows, a lot of the heavy snow going into like Tennessee, and more of a southerly approach here with the heavier snowfall. So GFS wants to snow further south. Euro wants to snow further north. That's still kind of where the models are a little iffy right now. And of course, as we do get closer to the event, we're going to learn a lot more about it. And we're definitely going to be, keeping you guys up to date with everything. Let's see here. Let's see. What's up? Rose, good to see you. Saying good morning, Virginia Beach here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, I mean, even Virginia Beach could be included in some of this here. Obviously, the models are a little iffy on exactly how much you could see, but yeah, Virginia Beach could be in the snow potential. Keep an eye out there for that. Let's see here. Kerosene heaters work really well for emergency heat. Absolutely. Let's see. Thank you for heads up on the weather. God bless you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Absolutely. Let's see. We use kerosene heaters. Close off Latin rooms. Wait, hold on. What? And close. Sorry, the text of this chat is really small on this panel over here. So I'm gonna need to bring it up on this one. I swear, it's like micro size. It's like so hard to keep track of what I'm reading here. So I that's why I keep on like messing up every time I read these chats here. Here, let me bring it up on my tablet. Maybe it'll be a little bit better here. All right. Oh, of course. Here we go. All right. Well, let me just look over here because my tablet's being stupid. We use kerosene heaters and close off lots of rooms. Okay. And all hustle in the main rooms. Can't believe it. Gotcha. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. How much ice accumulation causes issues on power? It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. I'm pretty sure it's within 1 to 2/10 of an inch is when you really start noticing like power issues. But we're not talking magnitudes of that with this storm. We're talking like inches of ice. Yes, you heard me right. Inches of ice potentially. Which, that's what I'm mostly worried about, honestly. That is genuinely what I'm mostly worried about. Let me go ahead and just bring up the single panel here again for you guys. We'll just expand that. So I'm going to hop back over here to the ice accumulations here. We'll look between the models. So if we go to, total freezing rain, QPF, we look at that. And I mean, you can see this is the GFS model. The GFS does kind of a funky little wave there. You can kind of see. But I mean, this drives so much ice. I mean, throughout like Georgia, that would be bad. A lot of people can't drive down here anyways. Imagine with people with ice, it would not be good. So that's why it's recommended just to not drive whenever there's ice out there and just to remain home. This is the time just to chill at home, kick back, do what you got to do, and enjoy yourself, just while the storm. Think of it as a vacation, just as long as you don't go out and do anything, you should be fine. Think of it as a forced vacation from nature. Yeah, definitely going to be quite impactful for a lot of people here. Let's see here. Rose says that's what they're saying. Virginia Beach could see up to 10 inches. I don't know about all that. I mean, because between both of the models that we just looked at here, it looks like the the common ground is like 3-4 inches or so. But that's still kind of early guidance for you. I mean, of course, it's probably going to change a million times before we actually get to the event. Because for you guys, for Virginia Beach, the storm will be hitting on Saturday, Sunday. So yeah. See, I'm sure Jim Cantori is getting excited to stand in 2 feet. Oh, you know it. That man, he's on everything. Wish I could do that, man. Um, let's see. You got my solar charger for my phone fully charged. That's another really good thing. Absolutely. Having solar chargers and stuff too, really good. Especially if you don't have like a generator or whatever, could really be quite useful. Um, because the thing is that once the storm rolls through, we're gonna have this high pressure ridge build in, and it's gonna clear out the sky. It's gonna be probably pretty clear for a lot of people, which the sun will be fully out and blazing, in which you'll be able to be able to charge your phones and stuff like that. Probably won't be able to during the storm because the sun won't be out much, but yeah, not a bad idea though. Let's see here. Blue Ridge, yeah, it is. Ice is, no joke. And also another problem is that, especially on like the mountains. I mean, ice is bad everywhere, but on the mountains and the hills, since you're at elevation, you have sorry, not elevation, well that too, but inclination. You're going to be sliding all over the place. So that is important to also just don't mess with ice. Bottom line, seriously, just don't go out whenever there's ice because it's just very dangerous. It's not good for anybody. What's up, Brooklyn? Good to see you. Saying hi, Andrew. What does it look like for Oklahoma? So models have come to a better agreement for Oklahoma, and we were actually just looking at that a minute ago. Looks like eastern Oklahoma is going to be in for quite a decent amount of snowfall here. So let's bring up our precipitation. We'll go to the 10-to-1 ratio here. So let me actually bring up the point values here too, so you guys can see that. So let's do single color. We'll do white so you can see. I mean, we're talking like possibly quite a bit here. Hunter, thanks for subscribing, dude. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, I mean, you can see definitely quite a bit, especially for eastern Oklahoma. So this is the GFS model here. GFS shows like that foot plus margin, like for these areas here up in the far east central side of Oklahoma. And then if we compare that to, let's say, Euro, let's bring up the ECMWF model. I still have that area selected. Is there a new run? Oh yeah, there's a new run coming through. So let's just hop back to the O's UTC. Hopefully that'll work. Perfect. Okay, so then you got the Euro here, which shows that potential still there. I mean, pretty similar actually, just bumped a little further north, the opposite of what GFS is saying. So that's kind of the main thing. The main difference still is that Euro still wants things further north, and GFS still has things a little further south. But you know what? I mean, yeah, Oklahoma's likely really going to see a pretty good amount of snowfall. I mean, we're talking like feet worth, or not feet, but a foot or more in some areas here. Absolutely. Let's see. Even having previous experience on snowy roads like drove in Oregon doesn't prepare you for the wet, slippery kind of snow or ice in the south. Yes, it is. It is absolutely. Driving in snow and ice is night and day difference. It really is. You do not want to go out when there's ice because it literally makes it uncontrollable. Like you can't control it. Friction doesn't exist here. Friction does not exist whenever you have ice like that. Oh my goodness. Hunter, thanks dude for the 5, man. Appreciate it. Saying, how are we looking in Anderson County, Tennessee? It was 8-12 last night. Now it's 3-5. Straight ice. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's where the main difference is in the models. Let's see here. Anderson County. You said what, Tennessee? Okay, so you're like Eastern Tennessee. Gotcha. Yeah, that's where the main difference is. You can see the Euro model here really not having you get much. I mean, showing like maybe an inch or a little bit less. Yeah, but remember, that could still change, given it's still kind of early mid-guidance now. But then you got GFS over here. Look at that, showing like a foot or more. So that's the main thing right now, is knowing where the ice snow line's going to be. Because whoever's getting the snow line, they're going to get a lot of it. Whoever's getting the ice line, they're getting a lot of ice. So, I mean, right now it's kind of, models are wiggling around a little bit, trying to figure out where that line is going to essentially be. And once we get closer to the event, models will have a more clearer picture of what's going to happen, and we'll obviously be able to kind of figure out who's going to get the heavy stuff and who's not. I really wish I could tell you exactly what you'd get, but I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly how it's going to play out for you because of the fact that there's so much differential here in the models. What I can tell you is that it's going to be significant either way for you, whether it being ice or snow, because you're getting it regardless. Obviously, I would wish more for the snow for you because ice is terrible. But even that amount of snow is enough to like make you snowed in essentially to where you really can't go out and do anything. But anyways, thank you, dude, for the 5. I really appreciate it. That's greatly appreciated, my friend. You definitely did not have to do that for me. I really appreciate it. Anyways, let's see here. That's crazy. Thanks for looking. No problem. No problem. Remember to start your car and let it run for at least 20 minutes or so before it hits. Our temperature right now is 20 degrees. Why do you do that? Why do you let it run for 20 minutes or so before it hits? Huh. I don't know. I've just never heard that before. Could Cleveland, Ohio area get a foot of snow with the 20-to-1 ratios? Well, I usually use the 10-to-1 ratio here because of with this event, I'm using the 10-to-1. But whenever it comes to Cleveland, I mean Cleveland's pretty high up north. I don't think you guys are really going to be getting as much. I don't think you're definitely going to be seeing any of the big stuff here. Honestly, a lot of that's going to be pretty much south of you. I mean GFS or Euro, either or, both have that main snow line just south of you. So, let's see here. But yeah, so that's that. Good morning, Kate. Hope you're doing well. Saying, watching from Connecticut. How does it look for us? So, given that it's farther down into the event here, there's a little bit of disagreement here still. So, whenever it comes to it, let's see here. So, we do have the GFS having that main line south of you, having Connecticut possibly like maybe 4 to 8 inches or so. Then you got the ECMWF here, the Euro. Let's hop back to the 0 UTC, which shows a little bit more with that northerly track. Having you mostly under a foot still, but probably closer towards like 8 to 10 inches. That's that. Rose says, is it okay if I share this out on my platforms? Absolutely. Go ahead. Thank you for the 2. I really appreciate it, by the way. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for all the kind love and support. Really appreciate y'all. Let's see, Carrot says crazy to see the models getting intense with this. Not typically a snow guy, but wow. Yeah, no, it's really turning out to be quite a big one from what it looks like. I think this is probably going to be one of the biggest storms we see this year. So definitely got to get ready for it. Definitely have to prep for it. See, it looks like the track is still going north now. Yeah, I mean, GFS still is a little further south, but it does seem like GFS in the later part of the event does have it pulling a little bit further north than what it did yesterday, essentially. So, let's see. Oh, I got you, Rose. Let's see, you should let your car run until its oil warms up and circulates in the engine. Gotcha. Let's see here. The woolly bear caterpillar folklore seems to be true. The one I found this year, very, very dark. I haven't seen those things in forever, man. I don't think we have them in Florida, but yeah, I always remembered that. Those little fuzzy worms. But anyways, like I said, the main thing now is still just waiting for the models to kind of see what they're going to come to an agreement on. What we do know at this point is that yes, we have a massive storm coming through. It's going to drive tons of ice, tons of snow. Overall, going to be a really big problem. But right now, we still need to figure out where that ice snow line is going to be. That's the main thing. That's the main thing right now that we need to figure out. Is who's getting the ice, who's getting the snow, but whoever gets it, it's going to be ugly either way. So, but like I said, I mean, at this point now would be a really good amount, now would be a really good time to start prepping for the storm. Making sure that you have enough food and water to last a couple weeks and stuff like that, maybe even more, because I mean, yeah, this could have some people locked in for a while. But anyways. Brooklyn says, "I'm so glad we're getting snow. I was disappointed with the lack of snow. Definitely won't be lacking this weekend." Yep. Let's just hope soon that some of these models actually come to a better agreement here. But they're getting there. They are getting there. I do notice some improvement in the models. Especially the GFS. It's starting to improve a little bit. Showing that northerly push there towards the end. So who knows what GFS is going to show here like tonight or whatever. Which, yeah, tonight I'm actually going to go live again for you guys. So on the agenda today, I plan on making a video, or doing a stream right now. I plan on also making a video today, and I'm going to be streaming later this evening too. That way I can just keep you guys updated. Like I said, we're going to be on this storm, y'all. We're going to make sure you guys are staying up to date with the latest and all that fun stuff. So we'll definitely keep you guys, in the loop with everything. And that'd be a good time if you guys are not subscribed. Maybe consider it. It'd be greatly appreciated. It'll definitely help you guys out for sure. Let's see here. Different amounts in Missouri than yesterday. What, right now? Yeah, Missouri is kind of on that gray area. Right now, more than likely, southern Missouri will likely get some of the heaviest. That's Euro. GFS here, you can see, really a total different outcome for Missouri in general. Like southern Missouri here, maybe 4 or so inches. Central Missouri, maybe 2 with the GFS. And then you got Euro, which has like central Missouri, like in 6 inches or more, and in southern, like possibly a foot or greater. So obviously there's a lot of disagreement there still. It's still kind of in that gray area, like I was saying. Let's see here. Hunter says rooting hard for the GFS, but it's the model I trust the least. Yeah, GFS has quite an interesting rep. Let's see here. Blue Ridge says he got 2 cases of water and box of non-perishable. Good to hear, my friend. I'm glad to see you're prepping for this. Yeah, definitely this is the one that you really want to make sure that you are preparing for. Here, let me overlay the ice accumulation here on top of this. So that's total QPF. Let's do, we'll do total freezing rain here. Look at that. So you can really see where the freezing rain is going to be south of that. So really a lot of these areas are going to have impacts. And like I said, this is just covering a huge area, of the country. This is covering like easily 20 plus states. Probably 30 plus states, honestly. I haven't counted them all up yet, but it's going to be impactful for a lot of people. I've seen a video of Russia having snowdrifts on top of high buildings, like historic snow. When recently? Really? I don't really keep up with the weather out there. I mostly just focus on the States. Sometimes Europe. Every once in a while, we'll look over there and see if there's anything going on, but not very common. And of course, the Atlantic Pacific, but pretty quiet right now out there. But anyways, all right, well, let's hop back over here. I'm going to go ahead and reset my workflow here for a moment. I do want to do this here. Let's go ahead and actually bring up the panel. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more room here, maybe. Actually, that didn't really seem to work. Let me try this view. Reason I want to do this is so you guys can probably see the models like more clear, that we have just a big picture of the models for you guys. So I'm going to bring up my workflow here. Let's do my workflows. We'll do my MK3, my Mark III precipitation comparison here. So yeah, we've got all these models here we can look at. One thing I'm noticing is that it looks a little weird. Here, let me do this. Maybe we'll have to make it fit. Probably. There we go. That should be fine, right? But anyways, yeah, look at that. So here's the main difference in the models and stuff. You can really see these 5 models in comparison. So this particular frame, this is at 4 p.m. on Saturday. You can see, so once we approach Saturday, this is going to be like the main day of the heaviest snow. Really Saturday, Sunday. But at that point, you can see where a lot of the models do have that ice and snow line here. These areas here really could see quite a bit of ice. If you look at all the models, they really show quite a bit for a lot of these areas here. Like I said, for some people, it's still a little bit iffy to know exactly if it's going to be snow or ice. And, there is still a bit of disagreement here. That's just stuff that we're going to have to work out over the next few days with the models and stuff like that. So we'll definitely, like I said, we'll just keep you guys in the loop here. We'll keep on updating you guys on everything and make sure that y'all are staying weather aware out there. But anyways, but that's that. Let me actually, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm actually going to bring up the, here, let's do snow totals on all of these guys. This might take me a second. Let's just remove all of these. So I'm actually, what I'm going to do now is we're just going to pull up these snow totals and compare that. So GFS, we'll go ahead and go to precipitation, total snow 10 to 1. Precipitation 10 to 1. I probably should have set this up probably before I went live, so I really apologize for that. Total snow 10 to 1. We have a few more left. 10 to 1. And lastly, precipitation 10 to 1. There we go. Boom. So we got all the models now with the snow accumulation. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see where the main streak of snow here is. You know, according to the models. I'm going to go ahead and circle the GFS, and we can see just how the GFS overlaps with the other models. So, you know, this is kind of where that heaviest line of snow is. I mean, the models, they're getting there. They really are. I mean, if you look at it, you know, obviously the GFS has the heavier snow a little bit further south as comparing to the European model, which has that a little bit further north here. Yeah, definitely pretty crazy. In which, you know, there still is a little bit of room to work for, but we'll definitely do that. I'm going to save the workflow. We'll just do snow totals MK1. So we'll have that. We'll do private. This is my personal one here. We'll go ahead and save that. That way I don't have to do that every time. That would be terrible. But anyways, but yeah, definitely looks pretty good here. Models, they're, like I just said, bottom line, they're getting there. And, you know, we're likely going to have some real significant impacts here for quite a lot of people here. Now, like I said, right now, a lot of the heavy snow, you know, out of this event here will likely fall across like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, possibly Missouri. Like I said, just a little bit of an iffy spot there. You know, also with Tennessee, I mean, you can see between, you know, the Euro and the middle panel here and the GFS here on the left panel. Obviously, GFS shows a lot of heavy snow. I mean, we're talking like central eastern, over a foot of snow from the American GFS model. Then the Euro, you can see barely shows like any. So there needs to be some work done there. Kentucky, on the other hand, whoops, didn't mean to draw there. Kentucky, on the other hand, you can see, you know, regardless of what model, shows a lot of snow, whether it being two different scenarios, GFS having southern Kentucky getting over a foot, Euro having northern Kentucky getting over a foot. Both models do show, you know, quite a bit of snowfall out there between like northern Virginia, you know, just Virginia in general. Southern Virginia is a little iffy still. You know, because of Euro's northerly track, it kind of keeps like areas like Virginia Beach out of the more snow. But then you got GFS, which agrees on a further south track, which, you know, definitely shows a little bit more snow on the GFS. So, but regardless, I mean, like Pennsylvania and stuff, I mean, you guys are going to get a lot. Both models actually agree on it. And, you know, that's the good thing is that GFS started agreeing with Euro at the end of the event, showing that, you know, that snow moving a little bit further north. So that could be a sign in itself that the models are starting to kind of come to a bit of agreement here. You know, like I said, only time will tell, though, of course. Let's see here. Carrot says the GFS did actually detect this even semi-well long range, surprisingly. I think I remembered that. But, you know, I don't like to trust anything that far out. It's just a rule. Honestly, yeah, it's just definitely, you know, definitely is a little too far out to look. Let's see here. Cadence says local weather here in the Cleveland area says it could see up to a foot possible. I mean, you can see the way that the models look here. I don't see how, personally. Let me. It could be. Let me check on the. Here, let's go delete this workflow here. It could be associated with cooler air, in which maybe the Kashira ratio would be better for that. Let me get rid of this here, and we'll bring this up. I do want to kind of pull up the temperatures real quickly, just to kind of see what we might be dealing with here. We'll do 2-meter temperature. We'll also add the, let's see here. We'll add this here. Where's precipitation type? Bring that up here as well. There's so much stuff here. All right. Anyways, so that is that. So if we overlay the precip type on top here, that should, there you go. Yeah, you can really see that. Oh yeah, on the back side of that storm, it's gonna be really, really cold. Before the event hits. Yeah, no, definitely. I think the Kashira ratio would be the best for areas up there in the Ohio Valley, just because of how cold it's going to be. I'm sure this is the same way through a lot of the atmosphere. Let me grab a sounding just to check on this QT chart here. It should be all past that that freezing isobar there. So there's your freezing isobar. Yeah, all of it. The entire atmosphere is below freezing from surface to upper atmosphere. So yeah, that'll be powdery snow, not wet snow, for like Ohio. So in that case, we would want to look at the Kashira ratio. So let's do that. Let's go to precipitation. We'll do Kashira, and we'll pull up the GFS here. Which at that point, now remember, this does not apply to everybody because some areas get warmer air than others. So you got to be really careful when doing this. Still, though, I don't see like a foot towards Cleveland, at least from GFS. Euro. Ooh, there we go. You know what? Euro. Yeah, Euro does, but still not enough model support there between both models to say, yes, we could get a foot. I mean, yeah, there is some agreement with it. You know, Euro having that northerly track. But, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see. Definitely a good thing I did pull that up. That way you guys could kind of see what's going on there. The next thing I want to look at here is the ice. We'll go back to the total freezing rain here. Yeah, this is what I'm really worried about down here is the freezing rain concern. Excuse me. Definitely is one of the main issues here. I mean, like I said, we're talking like possibly well over an inch, maybe 2 or more inches of ice, you know, just straight up freezing rain. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm actually going to compare this here. Let's make a second panel here. We're going to do the American GFS on the left panel, and we'll do the the American GFS on the left panel and the European ECMWF on the right panel here. So let's go precipitation. We'll do total freezing rain on this one, and then we'll change this to Euro. There we go. There you go. So yeah, you can see obviously Euro having a lot more significant ice. Actually, Euro shows a lot more ice actually falling just in general. You know, obviously, once again, Euro has everything pushed up a little further north than the GFS. GFS is still a little further south. And you can see a big difference in like Louisiana, you know, southern Louisiana here. You know, not much ice going on the Euro. And then you got GFS, which shows a whole bunch and stuff like that. So, let's see. Kate says they're saying 8 to 12 for Connecticut. Please tell me no. What I can tell you is that models are actually starting to come to a little bit better of an agreement here. Here, I'm going to go ahead and save this workflow as well. We're going to do that's not a G. GFS and Euro ice compare. There we go. We'll do surface, probably workflow, subcategory surface. We'll just do 2 services. That way I can just have everything all together there. So we can go back on that. Anyways, let's go back to our one workflow that we have. Let's actually delete. Hold up. Let's do reset workflow. Workflows. Starting to get quite a few of these here now, man. So yeah, here's the main comparison between the models here. So with Connecticut, you know, talking snowfall and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, Euro shows snow kind of starting early Sunday. while the GFS doesn't have it really starting until the afternoon of Sunday. So that's already a big difference there. By the time the GFS has the storm out of Connecticut, it's still likely going to be snowing according to the European model. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, stuff like that. It's just a little too early to be specific for some of these areas here. It's definitely a little bit early. Let me bring up the snow totals again here. That way we can look at that here and kind of see where we're talking, in terms of accumulation anyways. And by the way, guys, if you do want me to look at snow accumulation for your area, just throw down your zip code. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. That's the whole point of the stream, guys, is just to make sure you all are staying weather aware and staying up to date here. And if you guys could do me a favor, maybe consider subscribing, maybe leaving a like, and maybe sharing this to a friend or family member just to help spread the awareness and just help spread the word of the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, you can see big differences here. GFS, with the system that rolls through Connecticut showing, maybe a good 5-6 inches or so. Then you got Euro, which shows pretty much like just barely sub a foot. I mean, maybe 10-11 inches or so, maybe locally higher amounts. The GDPS kind of agrees with Euro in that sense. The AI GFS kind of agrees with the main GFS here. So there's obviously some disagreement going on here, overall. So definitely just keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. How likely are power outages in Oklahoma? I'd say they're pretty likely, especially for eastern Oklahoma, given those heavier totals out there. You can see that models really do have a pretty good grasp on. Wow, dude, why does GFS really has it coming down? Look at that. 10 to wow. This is the new. I think this is the newest one we have from GFS 06. Dude, look at those totals, man. So GFS wants like Oklahoma completely buried in almost 2 feet of snow. Euro, I'll tell you this though, Euro does not agree. So we can't immediately say, oh my gosh, we're going to get 2 feet of snow. No, it doesn't work like that. Some areas could definitely see over a foot from what it looks like though, between all the models at some places. So yeah, definitely looks pretty good actually. Anyways, let me see. 2 inches of ice is crazy. Absolutely, it is nuts. Here, let me bring back up this. I'll bring you guys back over to this panel here. Anyways, honestly, I kind of like it the way I had it better earlier. Oops. Here, let's just move you guys back down here. And then we'll do this. Actually, we had it perfect a minute ago. It's just easier for me to read the chat and stuff too. So we'll just have it this way for a little bit here. Let me just fix this real quickly. All right, there we go. Perfect. Let's see. Kate says, thank you. I'm disabled and need to prepare. Of course, you're very welcome. No problem. Yeah, like I said, guys, we're here to help you guys. We're here for all of y'all. Let's see. James wants me to look at the zip code. I got you. Let me pull this up. I'll let you know if it's more of a snow or a, an ice concern here. So you're in Illinois. Okay, so you're up here in like East Central Illinois. Gotcha. Well, let me bring this back up here. So accumulation-wise, there's a lot of disagreement here in the models for the snow for you. Euro shows upwards of maybe 3 to 6 inches or so, while the GFS shows like maybe 1 to 3. Obviously, there's a huge difference here in the models here. Honestly, just kind of going off the middle ground from what we know now, I'd say about 2 to 4 would be a good possibility. Because it's right between the models here for the most part. I mean, that's just roughly the average of kind of what snow totals we'll probably be seeing out there. So it ain't gonna be anything massive, more than likely. A lot of that's gonna be heavier to the south. I mean, even the Euro, doesn't show the heavy stuff going that far north. So, anyways, hopefully that helps. But obviously you're too far up north for the ice because it's just gonna be cold regardless. All throughout the atmosphere, not just ground level. Let's see. Rose says my zip code is this. I'll go ahead and pull that up here. Let's go ahead and plug this in. Virginia Beach. Yes, indeed. Okay, so Virginia Beach is a little iffy. Virginia Beach is going to be kind of one of the last areas to be affected by the storm here. And you guys will be getting it pretty much on Sunday for the most part. So the GFS, as you can kind of see, shows, maybe 3 to 5 inches, some locally higher amounts here. While the Euro, barely has you in a couple tenths of an inch, barely a trace. So that in itself is a little iffy. But I tell you what, though, the Euro AIFS does have a little bit more than the actual Euro model. So, some of the models show less than an inch here. Most of the models, it's almost neck and neck, actually, between you getting like 1 to 4 inches or so, 1 to 5 inches. Range is huge right now, so can't really be too specific at the moment. Let's see, Brooklyn says it's crazy. It is. It's just a crazy storm in general. Let's see. Tisha says, I heard the ice moved north of Dallas, Texas. Please say it's true. Let me pull it up here. Let me just pull up the snow and ice here. So I don't think that's going to be true, unfortunately. So the models obviously have the snow being north of Dallas here. You can see Dallas likely not going to get any really snow. You might get a little bit, but it ain't going to be anything massive from what the models suggest right now. Now, if I pull up our workflow here, let's do workflows, and we'll do the, where is the, didn't I have an ice one? I thought I had a compare. Oh, there it is right there. Literally right in front of my face here. No, it doesn't look like the ice is going to be just to the north of Dallas. Matter of fact, a lot of the ice is actually probably going to be mostly around Dallas here, if not a little bit north. But Dallas area will likely still deal with a decent amount of ice and still needs to watch out for it. Let's see here, Rose. I got you. Did we? I think we just did yours. Pretty sure. James says, thanks again. No problem. You're very welcome. Let's see here. I got you. Yeah, kerosene stuff will be good to have. Just, like I said, propane grills, whatever. Really good thing that I would, look into. And remember, like I said, if you get your power outage that happens, if the power goes out, then just put all your frozen stuff, all your refrigerated stuff in the snow or out there in the ice, because it'll keep it cold enough. It won't thaw out. But just make sure to bring it in before it warms back up, and hopefully you'll have power by then. But at least temporary solution. That would be a good idea. And like I said, make sure you have a first aid kit. Have that ready. Tons of food and water. Make sure you have plenty enough to last you several weeks, if not over a month. Would be definitely recommended. Yeah, snow. There's so much snow I've been talking about. It's just the first thing that came to my head. Water. Make sure you have that. Non-perishable foods, stuff like that. So definitely some of the stuff I'd recommend that you have. Let's see. Thank you for giving good info. Clickbaits get crazy right now. It sure is, and you do not know how much it annoys me too, to see people like me who's genuinely trying to help, and then you got people who's just using the name just to make money. It's ridiculous. I cannot tell you. I could go on for it for hours, but I'm not going to get into it. But it's annoying. It bothers me. It really does. It makes people actually like who's really trying to help and actually give good information look bad too. It's like, general public, for people who don't understand, is probably like, oh, it's just another one of those clickbaity, weather YouTubers. It sucks, but oh well. There's not really much I can do about it. Anyways, but let's go ahead and bring back up our comparison here once again for you guys. So once again, this is kind of where the models stand right now. There's still a bit of disagreement, but they're getting there. The models are definitely getting a little bit better. Once again, Euro shows a bit of a northerly push, the snow going a little bit further north than, like, say, the GFS. But lately, the GFS has been starting to agree on, the back end of the snowstorm starting to push further north. The Euro shows just the entire storm tracking to the north here, further north. GFS has the beginning of the storm remaining south, and then kind of the back end, lastly pushing a bit to the north here, which, would lower the totals up there. Increased totals further south from the GFS, and increased totals further north for the Euro. Let's see here. Y'all says that's a good idea to put your perishables out in the cold to keep them from going bad. You could put them in a rubber tub too if you want. Yeah, I mean, just as long as they're in an area where it's like, freezing and below, it would be good. Which, a lot of these places are going to be, obviously freezing temperatures and, below. So, yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea to, just keep everything out there, just in the cold, just just to make sure it doesn't thaw out and stuff, because that would be that'd be a disaster. But anyways, I mean, honestly, like I said, bottom line is this morning, models are a little bit better. They do look a little bit better in terms of agreement here. Still got some work to do, though. We're still going to obviously keep an eye on it. Like I said, the plan for today, guys, is we're going to obviously do in the stream right now. We're probably going to wrap things up here pretty soon, just to give you guys a quick little morning update. I'm going to make a video shortly, though. We'll have that probably out by maybe noon, anywhere from noon to 2 p.m. I'm shooting for. It could be a little later. And then, of course, this evening, I'm not sure what time. I hate committing to times because sometimes things get in the way. So just make sure you have those notifications on. That way you get alerted whenever we do go live, because I will also do another live stream tonight. So a video is coming out today. A live stream's coming out today. I'll probably put up a short as well, just to kind of get the word out there to let people know what's going on here. Because, I mean, everybody needs to start prepping for this storm here. Everybody needs to know about it. So, but anyways. But yeah, if you guys have any questions before I roll off here, do not hesitate to ask here. We'll be, like I said, more than happy to help. That's the whole point of the channel, just to keep you guys up to date with the weather and, just making sure that you guys are staying safe out there. That's the main thing. But like I said, bottom line, a bit of a summary. I mean, this is a big storm. This thing is going to be a really big storm. And like I said, probably one of the biggest of the year. It's not very often you see storms of this magnitude and, this potential impacts associated with them. Like I said, tons of ice, possibly a couple inches of ice, feet of snow, or up to a foot or more in some areas. Right now, there's not a whole lot of guidance that suggests 2 or more feet. For the most part, models have it between, like, at the heaviest spots, about a foot and a half, according to the majority of the models here. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of guidance that suggests over 2 feet. So, but anyways, let's see. Thank you so much. You're a nice man. Love your stream. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You are very welcome. Let's see. It's been snowing here for about a week. I forget. It barely ever quits in Western Michigan. You get that lake effect snow. That's what you've been getting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get those cold air masses that run over the Great Lakes. Given that the lakes are a little bit warmer and that sharp cold air coming through it doesn't really like it very much. And it'll really get those snow generators going. But all right, everybody. Well, I just want to go ahead and say, everybody, thank you all so much for joining once again. Like I said, we'll have a video up soon. Once again, probably anywhere from 12 to 2 p.m. If not, maybe a little bit later. Just around there is when I'm expecting to have it out, but things could change. And of course, the stream later this evening afterwards, and I'll probably have a short up later on today as well. Maybe even a couple, just to kind of split it up. I might split up the ice and the snow. I might make 2 or 3 shorts today, because they're pretty quick and easy to make, and they're pretty good getting information out. So I'll probably put up a couple shorts today, one for ice, one for snow, and maybe one for both. That way it'll help out. I'm going to do as much as I can just to help push the information out for you guys and keep you guys up to date with everything. You're welcome, Blue Ridge. No problem. No problem at all. But once again, everybody, if y'all have any final questions, be sure to let us know. Let's see here. One thing is, if you can stay off the ice, please do. Ice is very hard to drive on. Absolutely. That's why it's important to prepare before the event happens. And not go out during the event, because it's going to be very dangerous driving conditions. You cannot drive in ice. I don't care if you have a 4x4. You can't. You really can't. Snow, yeah. If you have 4-wheel drive, snow is better. I mean, you can somewhat drive in snow and 4-wheel drive, of course, but ice, no. Yeah, there's not a shot, not a shot. So just be careful out there, okay? And just make sure that you guys just prepare soon. All right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Once again, we'll get a lot of stuff out for you guys today. We'll have a video, probably a couple shorts, and another live stream today. So we're going to be on it. I'm going to be working hard for you guys today. Once again, everybody, thank you all so much for everything. And thank you to everybody who has donated. I really, really, really appreciate it. You guys are really the backbone of the channel and really help keep us going, with the funds and stuff. So I really appreciate it. So the people who have donated, thank you. And of course, the people who have not as well, just thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. But yeah, we do have a special shout out for the people who have donated today. So a big shout out goes to Regina, I think that's your name. I think I said it right. Hunter, as well as Rose, and of course we have Kathleen earlier before the stream started. So thank you guys once again for supporting the channel. You guys are amazing, and like I said, once again, it really helps us out and helps keep us going. So thank you so much. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you guys here hopefully pretty soon with a lot more content for y'all. But alrighty, thank you all so much for joining, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.